Good morning, everybody. We'll call to order the December 17th, 2019 regular meeting of the Mason County Board of Commissioners to order. Begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Kathy Carey, if you please lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, roll call. If the clerk will please take roll.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to item 4, correspondence and organizational business. Item 4.1, if the clerk would please report the correspondence.
A letter was received from Treasurer Lisa Frazier regarding depositories designated by Treasurer. Mason County Fire District 5 sent an updated copy of their levy, and Thomas Furness sent in a letter regarding land use affecting 21 Pine Tree Lane in Tahuya.
Very good, thank you. And item 4.2, we have a staff recognition today for Kathy Carey, who's retiring after 36 years of service to the county, and we have a little token of our appreciation for you here that Commissioner Netherland is going to walk down, but just a special word of thank you for your years of service to Mason County and its residents. I, for one, have greatly appreciated getting to work with you and know how much everybody else has as well. So wish you all the best in your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you.
And as Commissioner is walking down, if Commissioner Trask has any words.
Got to work with you for a year, and it's just been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll be missed.
I'll miss it. Don't say I won't. There.
Pretty
Oh.
cool.
Oh.
You were well loved and appreciated. I've known you for a long, long time.
Oh, I
here.
know.
First time actually when me and Ken's around here somewhere, we used to serve on that tip cap.
That's right.
But I've known you for that too.
No, that's been a long time,
It's been an
huh?
honor working with you. I hope
Thank
you have a
you.
lot of
Oh,
fun
that's
with your next
beautiful.
adventure.
Where'd you get this picture?
I did.
Oh, I'm waving to my peeps at Public Works, they're watching.
Aw.
Thank you
Mike,
very
would you
much.
run up and have them say it?
Oh, I don't have anything to say. Well, I have nothing planned, of course, but it's been a long time. I mean, the years have gone so fast, but I remember when I was just talking with Mike over there at the Journal that I started before we had computers and monitors and fax machines, and we still were working on our Selectrics typewriters, handwriting a lot of things, and using carbon copy papers, and just getting that phone system in was just a huge leap, and then all the electronics came, and it's been a long time, and I've watched all the employees that come and go, and I still am friends with everybody who's still working here after all this time. So I have a party on the 30th. You're all invited, the whole county, and I hope to see you then. Thank you so much. It's been really a nice working ride, I guess you could say. I've been happy and felt loyal to Mason County all my years, even when if I was unhappy with something else. Thank you again. Thank you for this, too.
Is there anybody else that has anything they'd like to say to Kathy on her retirement?
We'll miss you. It was great working with you.
You too, Tim.
Someone that truly cares about Mason County and your community. Was fantastic and a pleasure working with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Been a big help.
I'd just like to thank Kathy. She's been an incredible professional and a credit to the department. One of the things, though, that she will truly be missed for is the Kathy fun factor. She brings a lot of camaraderie, teamwork, enjoyment to the work office, and that is so important, and I really, really thank you, Kathy, for that. There's also a little bit of fear factor also when it comes time to clean the refrigerator.
Oh. Yeah, that's true. That's
So thank you very much,
All right,
Kathy.
you're welcome. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll miss everybody. I'll miss everything. But I'll be listening and reading, so mind your P's and Q's, Commissioners.
I've known her long enough to be afraid when she says that.
And I just want to say thank you to Kathy also. She's amazing.
She'll take on anything. We've been a little short-staffed, and here in the year that I've been here, Kathy is willing to just like, oh, I'll call these people, or I'll take care of that, or I'll get with local programs, I'll take care of something with a contractor, just anything. She's always volunteering. She always wants to help everybody out, and I know everybody appreciates you.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate everybody too. Okay, next.
So now that you're retiring, Kathy, I think that Toastmasters would really want you back.
Oh, you think so?
I do think so,
I
yeah.
have considered it. I have considered it. I love doing Toastmasters.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I see.
I've been too afraid to do it.
Any other wishes for Kathy? Okay, well, again, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 5, this is our open forum for citizen input. It's an opportunity for members of the public to address the commission on items not on today's agenda. If you'd like to make a comment, raise your hand. The chair will recognize you. Come forward to the podium and make your comments. Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 6, adoption of today's agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of today's agenda as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt today's agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, approval of minutes. There are December 9th, 2019 briefing minutes, December 2nd, 2019 special meeting minutes, and December 3rd and 10th, 2019 regular meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the December 9th, 2019 briefing minutes, the December 2nd, 2019 special meeting minutes, December 3rd and December 10th, 2019 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the December 9th, 2019 briefing minutes, December 2nd, 2019 special meeting minutes, and December 3rd and December 10th, 2019 regular meeting minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, is approval of our action agenda today. Commissioners will read through the items on today's action agenda, at which time a commissioner or a member of the public may ask to have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote. I will take items 8.1 through 4. Commissioner Netherland, if you'd take 8.5 through 9, and then Commissioner Trask, 8.10 through 13. Item 8.1, approval of the 2020 contracts as follows. $38,500 to Northwest Event Organizers, NEO, for Concierge Handbook and Wild Side Guides campaign. $87,000 to Shelton Mason County Chamber of Commerce. $15,800 to the Mason County Historical Society Museum for Visitor Information Center services as recommended by the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. Item 8.2, approval of a resolution authorizing a sole source purchase of a 3-dimensional scanner from Faro Technologies for the Sheriff's Office. Item 8.3, approval to award the 2020 janitorial services contract to Coastal Custodio in an amount up to $134,000. This is an annual contract with an option to renew up to 3 additional years. Item 8.4, approval of contract amendment number 1 with Kennedy Jenks Consultants Incorporated in the amount of $87,759 for updating rather than amending the Belfair General Sewer Plan.
Mr. Chairman, item number 8.5 reads, approval to authorize Public Works Director to sign the Public Works Board Direct Appropriations Grant Contract in the amount of $2 million for the Belfair Sewer Expansion Project. Item number 8.6, approval of a supplemental agreement, number 1, with IMS Infrastructure Management Services, LLC, to extend the completion date for the Safety Plan Data Collection Project to April 30th, 2020. Item number 8.7, approval to set a hearing on Tuesday, January 7th, 2020, 9:15 a.m. to consider a code amendment to the Mason County Code, Chapter 6.72, Section .030, adding Section 1, Solid Waste Flow Control. Item number 8.8, approval of the 6-month extension with Behavioral Health Resources, Consejo Counseling, Northwest Resources, and Peninsula Health Services. And item number 8.9, approval to set a hearing on Tuesday, January 7th, 2020, 9:15 a.m. to consider the expansion of the Shelton Urban Growth Area, UGA expansion, and applied zoning.
Item 8.10, approval of warrants and treasurer electronic remittances. Claims Clearing Fund warrants number 8068895 through 806-9056 in the amount of $392,929.73. Direct deposit fund warrants number 64181 through 64564 in the amount of $762,594.05. Salary clearing fund warrants number 7004855 through 7004889 in the amount of $1,003,142.46. Item 8.11, approval of the 2020 Court Commissioner Professional Services Agreement with Robert Sauerlander in the amount of $153,587.28. Item 8.12, approval to set a hearing on Tuesday, January 7th, 2020 at 9:15 to consider the rezone of several adjacent parcels from Village Commercial VC to multifamily medium density residential R2 within the Allen Urban Growth Area. Item 8.13, approval to authorize the Deputy Director, Utilities and Waste Management to execute a contract extension with Parametrics to collect the remaining required gas monitoring data with a scheduled completion date of no later than June 30th, 2020.
Very good, thank you. Having read through all the items on today's action agenda, Commissioners, are there any items you'd like to have removed for a separate discussion and vote?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item number 8.12, please.
Okay. Any other items to remove for a separate discussion or vote, Commissioners? Okay. Any members of the public have items they'd like to have removed for a separate discussion or vote? Ken?
I just had a question about item 8.9
Okay.
and how large that expansion is of the Sheldon Urban Growth Area.
Cal, do you have?
Yeah, it's just over 600 acres.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do you need it? Want it?
No.
Okay. Okay. Any other items to remove?
What
Cheryl.
does, I just have a question for you. What does Robert Sauerlander do for the county?
So he's a court commissioner. So he he works in the Superior Court and the Therapeutic Courts predominantly, but also does hearings in Superior Court. So he's it's a kind of like a quasi judge. They're a judicial officer.
Okay, so it's a subcontractor basically, right?
Yeah, essentially. Okay. Any other items to be removed or questions? Okay. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the action agenda, but remove item 8.12 for further discussion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to to approve the action agenda with the exception of item 8.12. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye. Sorry.
Commissioner Netherland is an
I'm
aye.
an
And the motion carries. Moving on to item 8.12, approval to set a hearing on Tuesday, January 7th, 2020 at 9:15 a.m. to consider the rezone of several adjacent parcels from Village Commercial to multifamily medium density residential within the Allen Urban Growth Area. Have staff just give a quick briefing on that.
This rezone application was brought forth by a variety of the landowners in the 8.6 acres of property, and Jeff Carey is acting as the applicant on all of the applicants' behalf, requesting to rezone from Village Commercial to R2, medium density residential. It went to the Planning Commission last month, the November meeting, and they took testimony and deliberated and ultimately voted to recommend approval of the rezone.
Okay, any questions for staff? Any questions from the public for staff? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into public comment. If there's anybody that would like to make public comment on item 8.12, raise your hand, the chair will recognize you. Any comment on 8.12? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment on that and move to commissioner deliberation or motion.
Yes, Commissioner, I would like to ask that we vote this item down at this moment and allow for an opportunity for further exploration into the different issues. It's come to my attention that they may not have been aware of our mobility plan that Public Works has put forward. They were explained that all that road was vacated by the county, and it hasn't been vacated, it is vacation by act of law. If that actually occurs and it goes through the process and gets vacated, that hasn't occurred on all those parcels, only on the ones on the end. There's also been a discussion of future schools. There's a comprehensive plan that's in place that the whole community participate in, but more than that, they have an actual model of how they want their community to be. And if we take away that commercial core, that part of the commercial core, they may never be able to have what they had dreamed of when they first came together. Taking out that commercial core would mean that any future businesses have to be on the highway, and that may not be beneficial. So what I'm asking is to vote it down, or no motion even, so that we can continue this at a future period after further contemplation.
If I might just add, it may be more prudent to have a motion to send it back to the Planning Advisory Commission for further deliberation. I think that would be a clearer potential way to get it under, as opposed to letting it.
Yes. Well, with that being said, I will make the motion that we send it back to the Planning Commission for further review.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to send item 8.12 back to the Planning Advisory Commission for further review. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Okay. Moving on to item number 9, other business. Any department heads or elected officials wishing to address the commission this morning? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item number 10, our public hearings. We have item 10.1, a public hearing to certify to the county assessor the amount of taxes levied for county purposes and the amount of taxes levied for collection in 2019. This is continued from December 10th, 2019, and ask staff to come forward to brief. Is Joe on this side?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I am happy to report that as of last week, all taxing districts have turned in their levy requests to the assessor, and the recommended action is move to adopt the resolution certifying to the county assessor the property tax levies for collection in 2020. Are there any questions?
No commissioners, any questions? Okay, no questions. Any questions from the public? Okay, hearing no questions from the public, we will open this up for public comment. If you would like to make comment on item 10.1, raise your hand. The chair will recognize you. Come forward and make your comment. Any public comment on 10.1? Okay, hearing none, we'll close public comment on 10.1 and move to commissioner deliberation or a motion.
Mr. Chair, I moved to adopt the resolution certifying to the county assessor the property tax levies for collection in 2020.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the resolution certifying to the county assessor the property tax levies for collection in 2020. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to item 10.2, public hearing to consider updating smoking policies found in Mason County Code Title 2, Chapter 2 and 9 to include vaping-free areas. This is also continued from December 10, 2019, and ask staff to come forward to brief.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Linda, Mason County Community Services. We are again. So before you today, we have an ordinance change for smoking and vaping policy. A little bit of background. In February of this year, Surgeon General declared a youth vaping epidemic based on the Healthy Youth Survey. Over the course of the year, we've had an outbreak of vaping-related lung disease, to include 49 deaths across the United States, and 2,200, actually 2,300 people now have been hospitalized, including one here in Mason County from vaping-related lung disease. And the CDC is recommending that people don't use vaping products until we understand more about what's happening with vaping-related lung disease. So in front of you, you have this ordinance which does two things. One, it actually defines smoking as was in our current policy, which was not defined. So it defines that as being tobacco-related with a burning element, and then it defines vaping and adds vaping to the clean air policy that the county has adopted already for smoking on county property.
Okay, very good. Any questions for staff, commissioners? Okay, any questions from the public for staff? Okay, hearing no questions, we'll move into public comment. Again, if you'd like to make comment on item 10.2, please raise your hand. The chair will recognize you. Come forward, make your comment.
Allison Small in Mason County Public Health, and I work on the tobacco and vapor prevention grant, and we are supporting this movement. So I just wanted to.
Very good, thank you. Any additional public comment on 10.2? Okay, seeing no additional public comment, we'll close public comment and move to commissioner deliberation or motion.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the updates to Code of Ordinance Title 2, Chapter 2, and Chapter 9.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the updates to Code of Ordinance Title 2, Chapter 2, and Chapter 9. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries.
Just for the record, it's the way it's written that we get screwed up on that one. So.
Moving on to item 10.3, a public hearing to consider amendments to Mason County Code Title 17, zoning, section 17.23.020, festival retail district within the Belfair urban growth area, and ask staff to come forward to brief.
Good morning, Kel Rowan, Mason County Planning Department. So this amendment is to the Belfair Festival Retail Zone. It currently allows multifamily in upper floors only, and so this amendment requests to eliminate the requirement on upper floors. So it still allow multifamily dwelling units, but there would not be the restriction to upper floors. This went to the Planning Commission, and it was recommended unanimously to make that amendment.
Okay, very good. Any questions for staff, commissioners? Okay, any questions from the public for staff? Ken?
I do have some, part of it was the materials that are in your materials were markups of the Belfair comp plan that I had submitted to the Planning Commission. I was curious if the commissioners had any questions about those submittals.
Any questions?
The other questions I had were about the minutes of the PAC meeting, and I wonder if it's more appropriate to ask it now or during my public comment.
Is it a question staff can answer, or is it?
I hope so. Hold on just a second. At that meeting on, October 21st, when you opened the hearing, you explained that you had been asked by the Board of County Commissioners to bring this proposal forward. Was that the entire board or just a single individual on the board?
I believe it was requested at one of the briefings.
Is this usual that so was it the entire board requested it of you or just a single board member?
I don't recall exactly, but I know it was brought up as we had done something similar to one of the zones in Allen to remove the requirement to have
That's the one that we just
residential
talked
and.
about. The one that
No, it was a different. It was several months prior, and so it was requested. Hey, can we do the same thing in Belfair for
Okay,
that
I
zone?
was just curious about that.
I can maybe just
Sure.
insert here. So I believe there was a consensus on the board to have the conversation with
And
PAC.
when you opened that public hearing at the PAC, you said it was for residential development, which would allow for single family. That's when you opened the hearing. And later on in that hearing, you said that it was your impression that it was for residential development without the commercial component. So do away with the festival retail, basically, portion of the commercial development. And then later on in the hearing, you said that you were asked by one of the commissioners why you were being asked to change the zone requirements, and you stated that you had been asked to bring it to the PAC, and you felt that your task was mainly to remove the retail requirement on multi-family residential. So at the beginning, you said single family, and then later on in the hearing, you said multi-family. So I was confused as to what's actually being proposed.
Well, the proposal was to eliminate the requirement for residential on upper floors. So my original staff proposal to the Planning Commission was to add add an item that would read residential units at a minimum density of 4 units per acre. And during the PAC meeting, we had deliberation about that, and what the PAC ultimately decided to do was not accept that addition, but rather strike on upper floors for the multifamily dwelling units. So you get to a similar thing. My recommendation as staff would have allowed residential units, a variety of different types of residential units at a minimum density of 4 units per acre, whereas the PAC recommendation of multifamily dwelling units and then striking on upper floors, that would restrict it to multifamily dwelling units rather than single, duplex, or triplex.
So that multifamily, is that, as part of the sub-area plan, that's considered R10?
No, it would just allow it's still a festival retail zone, which allows 44 different types of uses, but now it would allow multifamily units without the requirement to be on upper floors, which would strike the requirement to have, ultimately you'd have on your, if you had multifamily on upper floors, that means you would have commercial on the main floor. So that eliminates that requirement, but it doesn't change the fact that you could still have commercial uses in the festival retail zone.
No, I understand. I just was, it's a matter of semantics, I guess, and actual zoning in the Belfair sub-area plan. Multifamily is R10. That's how it's...
R10 also allows multifamily at 10 units per acre.
Right.
Minimum.
So that's mixed use.
There's also R5, which is 5 units an acre, and then there's R4, which is 4 units an acre. So multifamily refers to R10, I believe. I just wanted to verify what it was, because it was confusing when I read the minutes.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into the public comment. And if you'd like to make public comment on item 10.3, raise your hand. The chair will recognize you. Come forward to the podium.
Thank you, Commissioners. Ken Van Buskirk. I live on the Davis Farm Road, probably about 200 yards away from the festival retail zone of the Belfair Urban Growth Area. I understand that you're likely to approve this amendment, and I'm here to try to persuade you otherwise. The festival retail zone is already built out, with the exception of one parcel. There's contaminated soils, numerous impervious parking lots, and inadequate stormwater facilities negatively affecting water quality. All of this is on top of a critical aquifer recharge area. The bulk of the festival retail zone is all on top of a critical aquifer recharge area. Incidentally, I saw in the those 36 uses that Kel mentioned that there's still a dry cleaner listed as an allowed use. That is a prohibited use. If anything should be amended, that should be stricken from that particular set of uses. In my review of the minutes of that PAC meeting held in October, the PAC didn't consider any of this, and it primarily seemed to be focused just on increasing densities in that critical area. In my opinion, this proposed amendment, just like the R5 to R10 rezone that you did last year, it doesn't comply with GMA nor the Belfair sub-area plan. And please recall that last year when you did that rezone, I felt you were setting a precedence. if I could, I'd like to give you a copy of this, if I could. So one of the concerns that I have is these type of changes in allowable density is not compatible with the Office of Financial Management countywide projections for population growth. The build-out population in the current sub-area plan already significantly exceeds the 20-year population allocation for Belfair. Take a look at that map. You'll see on the front page all that R10 multifamily, and it does say multifamily there next to R10, I believe. So if you look at that first map page, you'll see the Festival Retail Zone is just an isolated island in it, and then you have R10 all the way around it. That was the way the Belfair Sub-Area Planning Group designed the sub-area plan and the zoning. And that was to create neighborhoods, not housing. The second page shows the population allocations in the comprehensive plan for 2016 to 2036. We just heard this morning that you're going to be considering expanding the Shelton UGA by 600 acres. That's where the population needs to go. That's what it's been planned out for. I think the page there for Belfair shows 430 people till 2036. We have more than enough R10 to handle that. We don't need to make more multifamily. Staff and the PAC did not consider population projections in the comp plan at the public hearing. Instead, the chairman recommended densities of 12 units to the acre and wants to make sure that developers are aware of incentives. Another concern is that the proposed amendment does not contain adequate provisions to ensure concurrency. That means to ensure that facilities necessary to support development shall be adequate to serve the development. In this case, existing stormwater facilities and that four-way intersection are woefully inadequate right now, currently. In conclusion, just like the Allen rezone that you just sent back to the Planning Commission, I would ask that you don't approve this amendment today or any other rezones in the Belfair urban growth area until there's a more thorough review of the sub-area plan by staff, by the Planning Commission, and most importantly, the whole community. Perhaps a review of the Growth Management Hearing Board decisions as they relate to Belfair by yourselves and county staff is warranted. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any additional public comment on 10.3? Any public comment on 10.3? Okay, hearing none, we'll close public comment on 10.3 and move to commissioner deliberation or motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the, sitting down here, I move that we approve this amendment to Mason County Code Title 17, Section 17.23.020. I want to make clear that one of the reasons why it went back and what has happened is we found that having residential on the upper floor and commercial on the bottom.
Were you making a motion?
Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Yell me for a second.
Yeah, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay.
I found that we've found through historically that having business on the bottom, residential on the top has been an absolute failure. They tried to do that through Allen in that same zone that we were talking about now, and they couldn't get the funding. They couldn't. Somebody finally built one and found that it was almost impossible to make it happen and be able to make a profit off it. So that's why no other growth had occurred in there until we made some changes. This puts us aligned with what we know has already been a failure, to allow for multifamily there, not just on the upper floors, but on all of them, because it just doesn't work. I want to point out also, though, that your projections, those are growth projections, not the growth number. So we're looking at a growth projection from 2016 to 236 of 430, if that's even accurate, because they take their best guess. Since 2016, we probably have, what, 2 new homes in the whole Belfair urban growth area that's come up. There hasn't been a lot of homes built out there. But either way, multifamily has been extremely important. You know, we have a lot of our friends and neighbors that can't live there anymore. We need to have some homes for them to be able to live there. I don't like them having to move out and having to move to different cities so they can at least have a place to stay. And having a single-wide manufactured home going for $1,200 a month or more for a 2-bedroom single-wide, it's not acceptable. We need to allow for them to be able to have places where they can live if we want to help stop anything with our homeless issue. So with that being said, right now we had 968 people in the urban growth area in 2016. We probably have about 972 now. So I think we're well within the 430. So with that being said, I will be supporting, but I would like to add one other thing, though, that Mr. Van Buskirk brought up. I remember from all our research when we were on the Planning Commission, it is actually an unlawful thing to have dry cleaners on the top of a critical aquifer recharge area. At least it was back then. Unless that has changed, I'll also like to see us strike that if you would consider that, because that shouldn't be in there.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion carries.
Would you be interested in entertaining that?
For sure, I would be.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I also move that we strike from this zone, in that area, we strike dry cleaners from allowed uses.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded to also strike dry cleaners from 17.23.020. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries. Okay. Moving on to item 11, our board reports and calendar. Commissioner Allen, if you get us started, Commissioner Trask, and then I'll finish up.
MTA pre-meeting, had the meeting of our art board with that. This time we got a lot of education. It was wonderful. I met with Public Works. I met with many constituents, including a guest in the audience today with Cheryl. Lindy Griffin passed away, and I attended her funeral. She was a water commissioner. She was a cemetery board commissioner. She was all at the same time. She was our historian. Ken Van Buskirk is also a great historian for our community, but between the two of them, that's a lot of history right there. What a wonderful lady, and she will be missed. Also another one, Doug Parker. We had our briefings. And then I had a chance to meet with the chair of the PAC. With that, going to the next week, we have a regular MTA meeting. I have a Christmas party for John L. Scott. I will be meeting with the code advisor for Beards Cove, audit committee meeting, and I'll be spending the day at the building department on Monday.
Very good, thank you.
So today we have our MTA board meeting this afternoon. Tomorrow will be kind of fun. Well, it'll be a lot of fun. We're having an office potluck. And then I am excited the elections. I'm having going on a tour at the elections department with Pack Mountain, and I'll be able to address them and tell them why I ran and the after effects, I guess, the aftershock. Thursday, encourage everyone to go down to Christmastown and participate in all of their events. It's a lot of fun. Friday is also the Mason County Employees Craft and Bake Sale. Encourage everyone to do that. Gateway Christmas program, Friday evening. Community Lifeline dinner on Saturday, and we're back on Monday for county briefings.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. No, we're not. Strike that.
You could be, but.
Darn.
See, that's why I'm not building department Monday.
No, we're not.
Very good, thank you. I have a meeting this morning with Joe Avalos and Mark Friedman from the Thurston Mason BHO. Also then our Mason Transit Authority meeting. I'm going to try to pop into the Christmas potluck on Wednesday. Then I have a meeting with Chief Bo Bakken, and then also meeting with North Mason Superintendent Dana Rosenbach. Then I have the governance board meeting of the Thurston Mason BHO. Then I have a couple of constituent meetings Friday morning as well. And then Monday, we have our facility opening for the BHO facility down on Coda Street. It's kind of a soft opening, open house kind of thing. So I encourage folks to get in there and take a look at that new facility and learn a little bit more about the benefit that it's going to bring to our community as we continue to try to work through some of the behavioral health and substance use issues in our area. And then that'll be it for the year. Just a real quick word of thanks to everybody. This will be our last business meeting of the year, and I think we had a good year. Appreciate all the effort of staff and our new electeds this year, and just wish everybody a very happy holiday season and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and look forward to seeing everybody back in January.
Just a point, I will also be probably attending the potluck, and I will try to attend the soft opening, but we also have an exit.
We have an
today.
executive
session.
Yeah.
We will still have another meeting today, just so you know, keep it on the calendar. So with that, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Take care. All right, there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We're adjourned.
I met your stepfather at one of the